What's going on, guys? Ryan Fagan here, and still here in Nairobi, Kenya. And since you guys were liking the content so much, I wanted to introduce you guys more formally with Dennis, who has been awesome and helping me go through my real estate journey here. And I really probably couldn't do it without him. And so we're going to talk about Dennis's background, off-plan developments, basically all real estate here in Nairobi and the outskirts. He's going to inform us and teach us all more about real estate here. And what's going on, Dennis? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good.
Thank you for having me, Ryan. It's been a great pleasure.
Well, first of all, Dennis set this up, okay? So, and we have a great videographers here. We're going to put their information in the description as well. Mm-hmm. Their content is really good. Mm-hmm. But I guess, because we look at your Instagram page and people have been seeing you when we're doing our walkthroughs and everything, mm-hmm. but people know very little about you. So I just wanted to know, I guess the first question, how long have you been in real estate?
Okay, before I answer that question, let me introduce myself formally. My name is Munge Dennis. I'm a realtor and an accountant by profession. Been in the real estate industry for 5 years, helping people not only buy properties, but also discover possibilities. I'm also a passionate believer in vision and opportunities. With my background in accounting, my heart has been in real estate. I know to create wealth, the avenue, the best path to go through is real estate. Yeah, so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, in Nairobi, if you drive around, you'll see all the advertising is real estate related stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, that tells you that it's a great business. And from the States, I feel like the same. That's why we connected so much. Mm-hmm. We're so similar and thinking about the future and passionate about real estate. What made you want to get into real estate here?
In Nairobi?
Yeah. When did you decide that you wanted to get into real estate?
With my entrepreneurial mindset, yes, I'm an accountant, but I felt like for me to change my mindset into reality, I felt like the perfect vehicle for me to turn that kind of mindset into reality will be like real estate. Mm. Yeah, that's why I had to venture into real estate, but basically into off-plan properties, for some reasons.
When did you just get that first idea? Like, where were you? What were you doing? Where you were like, I think I want to get into this?
Back in 2020 during COVID, that was, it was a bit hard for us, in our profession to get into getting jobs. People were getting laid off, I had to figure out what to do, and then the passion I had in real estate, even before joining campus, I used to like, what I resonate with, there's this kind of, there's this the Asian civilization I resonate with from this one from the southern part of Asia that talks about the Utus River civilization, like how they used to have their things. Yes, we know it's the old school type, but they have the organization. For me, I love seeing good things, organization, good structures. So even me coming to Nairobi, that was the first idea I had in mind, like seeing good roads, good development, good structures, good airports, you can see things like expressway. Those are the kind of things I like to see, That's why I got myself into real estate.
Okay. Yeah. So what drove you to off-plan specifically?
For me, off-plan, first of all, I feel like it gives us the flexibility, not only to first-time home buyers, also to the seasoned investors, maybe home, those looking for like homes, It gives you like that kind of like off-plan. You don't have to get like all amount upfront. You can do like installment payment. All you need just to secure a property with just a few, let's say like a down payment.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like it gives like so many people the opportunity like to own homes. Yeah, for comparing the ready properties and the off-plan ones, the off-plan ones give you that flexibility and affordability.
And I feel like resale is more expensive.
Reason being, for me, let's say you buy something off plan. This is what you call the capital appreciation, the capital gains. I bought something. I've seen from experience like properties gaining, appreciating between 30 to 40% capital appreciation. So if I bought something off plan, for me to flip it off, I need to put up my profit margin. So you're getting something ready, it has to be expensive, definitely, unlike getting something off plan.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's not very much like the U.S. market, so that's something that I thought was interesting. And as I've been looking at even the property that you helped me purchase recently, I see some people reselling them for 500,000 shillings more than what we even paid for it in the beginning. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, true. That happens. That happens. That's why you find like most investors, what they normally do, they get in early, the pre-sale prices. And then you understand, like, as the properties, like during the construction period, the value appreciates. On completion, these people flip the whole thing,
Yeah, by the time the property is done, in 2 or 3 years, it'll be worth more.
Yeah.
Even just on paper, like the contract, really, like before they even take possession of it, it's worth more.
More, yeah, that's true. That's why now you find most people now getting in early because they understand the value it appreciates up to when it's done. Which
is the crazy thing, because now if you want to be very selective about the property that you're getting, you have to get in before they break ground or anything, 3 years before the project. The 1 and 2 bedrooms are in the studios are sold out in the first year.
Before breaking even. Yeah, it's true.
So are you concerned about oversaturation or overbuilding? What's your thoughts on that? Because there are so many developments.
Yeah, there might be a concern, but one thing I believe in, with the developers, the more development they do, and then with the investors, there's some things they want, some improvements. So be like, what they did 10 years ago is not the kind of thing they're doing right now. The property value keeps on going up because now they're adding value in terms of quality finishes, in terms of sizes, in terms of everything, they offer. So I feel like with the time, at the same time, you find most people, the middle class people, in terms of rental demands, the rental demands keeps going up despite you seeing all these high rises coming up. So someone who can afford to pay for the premium kind of qualities, and then now they're driving the rental demand go high. So the developers now, they're getting that urge also to do more development, giving us good quality at the same time. Yeah, oversaturation, I don't think so.
Actually, a YouTube commenter made a really good point, is that the population growth here and the average age is so low that the building is probably not too much, because the middle class is growing, the population's increasing, and as people are getting older, they're making more money.
Yeah.
Because, at first I was concerned maybe a lot of the investment is international and like temporary workers and people that are visiting. And I don't think that's a good backbone for the real estate market. But the more I learn about the demographics here, I feel more comfortable, especially with the population growth, that over time, more local Kenyans are able to afford these properties and live in them, which I think is a good thing, for Kenya especially.
Yeah.
Did you want to ask me something?
Let me ask you, for instance, you got your first property, right? Maybe, are you feeling like getting another 1 or 2 or 3 more?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's addicting, but it's really, I don't know, you got to check yourself, because now I got the first property. We're getting that organized to start renting out, and we just did the offer on the second one that I was planning on using more for my personal residence when I'm here. And I'm, some of those other projects that we already looked at, especially on a 3-year payment plan, it's very attractive. You just want to buy everything, and especially like you were saying, the quality of the developments are increasing.
Yeah.
So like the newer stuff, they're adding more amenities, more cooler stuff. And I'm thinking that the quality is increasing as well. So it's like, you want to keep investing. And basically it's addictive, and, you know, you got to take it easy though. You don't want to commit to spending too much, but I love it. The other thing, you know, in the US, everything is a mortgage. You have a lot of debt. You know, you have a 30-year mortgage. Here, because, you know, from a US perspective, the pricing is such that it's affordable, especially on a 3-year term, where you know, you probably can afford a very quality place over 3 years to be able to purchase it. And I think that's very attractive. I made a video about that previously, where, I mean, in the US, it's very, like, the entry level is so high that, you know, you'll never catch up. You know, we would say the goalpost keeps moving further away. And so I think here is a great opportunity to, you know, especially even if you don't have that much money, you can get a couple people together on a 3-year payment plan and be able to invest in, I think, a really great growing market. So that's been my perspective on it.
Yeah, that's true. And then for you, why Nairobi? Why Kenya? Why not Uganda? Why not Tanzania?
So
There has to be something.
I mean, okay, so there's business reasons and there's like personal reasons why I like being here. But some of the business reasons are there's a lot of international business here. I feel like Nairobi is the hub of East Africa. I think everything goes through here, even the airport, right? Like if you want to fly to South Africa from Tanzania, you have to go to Nairobi first. If you're trying to go somewhere from Uganda, you got to go to Nairobi first. If you want to go to Dubai, you got to go to Nairobi first. I mean, that's just the airplanes, but I mean, I think that is kind of symbolic for a lot of business in this region, is that the headquarters might be here in Nairobi, but they're doing business in Uganda as well. My friends here will ask, hey, bring something from the US, right? I'm like, what can I bring? Because you guys have everything. And I think if you know, I haven't been to Uganda, but from my understanding, they might not have all this. It's a little bit more challenging to integrate or be there from a US perspective, because you are going to be missing out on things. I feel like the cultural connection here, as soon as I got here, I felt at home right away. Like I go to the store, like I didn't feel a lot of culture shock at all. And probably the culture shock I do experience is in a positive way. I think people are nicer, warmer. We make friends, you know, you've been awesome. I meet so many people out here. And I think it's just a really good lifestyle to be out here. I feel happier. I feel guilty for how happy I feel when I come out here, to be honest. Like, so that, I mean, that's why Nairobi is the best, to be honest. Like,
And you're loving it here.
Yeah, I love being here, you know, and it goes very deep. I don't want to get into all that, but, you know, I really feel happier when I'm here. And so, I mean, you can't beat that as happiness among the other business reasons.
Okay.
I haven't been to other countries, so maybe, you know, I don't know, but I'll start traveling more and report back.
Yeah, that's a good feedback, actually. That's a
Yeah.
good feedback. That's a good feedback. I know you went through some challenges, maybe getting your first property here, how you maneuvered through the payments. Everything has a challenges, you know.
I don't think buying off plan here in Kenya is any more difficult than buying a house in the United States. It's probably easier, because in the United States, a lot of properties, you have to negotiate repairs and inspections, and you can spend a lot of money on due diligence and end up not purchasing that property. That stuff can happen here. You have to be aware of what's going on. That's why it's good to have an advocate and an agent that's helping you. That's why we're doing this, is because anytime I've had an issue, you're able to step in and kind of, but it hasn't really been that problematic. You know, there are concerns like sending the money, sending a wire is always a little scary, but we got through it and it works out.
Oh.
But yeah, I do think it's pretty simple. Like, for people would be surprised, like the contract to purchase the property. I think it's very straightforward and understandable for most people. Me being in real estate, maybe I'm a little biased, but I felt very comfortable with the contract and the language. And I think business is done very similarly, so I didn't have much of a challenge.
That's nice. Yeah. Thank God you had a smooth transition, how you do it on the other side, and then how you did it here. So it was like, no, it was not that bad for you.
No, because I'm in New Jersey, so we have a lot of attorneys, and they like to battle each other and do negotiations, and it costs you a lot of money for them to argue about the language in a contract, and then there's a lot of things that can go wrong or disagreements that can happen. I feel like with off-plan, what you see is what you get generally. Now, there's plenty of things that you got to understand going into it. For example, the marketing of these developments is always really nice. They have AI renderings and all that for the properties. And they may not look like the AI rendering. So, I mean, that is something, because they will wine and dine you and do a really amazing presentation.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're selling something, you want it to look as good as possible. And if there's no showroom, then, I mean, it makes sense for them to do that. I don't think it's overly misleading, though. I just think set your expectations when you're looking at the marketing for off-plan here.
Okay.
Yeah. So speaking of off-plan, let's talk about what you and your company does as far as vetting the developers, because some people's concern is, oh, what if the developer takes my money and doesn't complete the project, or they don't actually own the land, and all kinds of, from a U.S. perspective, when people think of Africa in general, they're like, they're going to scam me. So like, just tell me some of the due diligence and things that you guys do to make sure that any properties that you sell is vetted properly.
First of all, before we advise you on which property to take, we normally advise our clients to do their due diligence. And then by due diligence, you need to hire like an advocate. And then this advocate will help you to vet the developer. First of all, go check their past projects. Ask questions. How was the delivery? Ask the past investors. How was the quality? What they saw on the renders, the expectation, the delivery. And then now look at the approvals. Does the developer has all the approvals? From the county government, from the national government, from NEMA and everything. And also ask questions like, how about the delivery? Your completion time, the quality, the samples of materials they're going to use. Have a look at what they have, and then so that when the project is ready, so that you don't get surprised like, oh, this is what I was told. I know the renders, they look so nice. And then the expectation, I know the expectation will be like different. Oh, now this is not what I saw on the render. This is what I'm getting on the final property. So the lawyer will help you do that. And then with your due diligence, now the lawyer will, first of all, make sure in terms of vetting the developer, first of all, the material, the approvals are there, their past projects. And then also in terms of payments, what you need to structure on the contract, And in terms of anything like, let's say, clauses in the contracts which you feel like agree with, now the lawyer will help you to maybe alter some of those with the lawyer's developer, or the developer's lawyer as well, and then you come into agreement, like, okay, this is what you promised, this is what you deliver, and then have it written down. See, that will help you mitigate the risk of like, this is what you promised, this is what you delivered. But when you have it written down, it will be easy for you in terms of even cost. And then before now the project is handed over to you, you need to come with that. You can hire someone, like a contractor, go through the property, what they promised, what they've delivered. Yes, you can incur some extra cost, but it's good to incur some extra cost instead of you getting something. Some people buy with emotions. They look, oh, the project is done, it looks so good, but now they don't know. There might be leakages, there might be some plumbing issues. And then with all those now written in a contract, now will help you to mitigate all those kind of back and forth with the developer.
And that's basically how it works in the U.S., right? If you're buying a property, you do your own inspections, you have professionals come out and look at it. And I think it's very similar. And, I think, especially with the bigger developers, these are big businesses, so I don't think they're really trying to take advantage of people, right? They have a reputation, just like any company that's building in the United States. So they do have a incentive to like deliver a good product, I think. So I haven't had too much of an issue with it. I will say, and this is something that Dennis really helped with, especially since my time being here the second time, is looking at the past projects of developers. I think that's really important to look at the quality of work that they've already delivered to be able to tell what they're going to deliver in the future, because the renderings always look great. So you can kind of tell, and I definitely can tell the difference between developers and their quality from looking at their past projects. So I recommend people do that if they're thinking about buying off plan. Yeah. Which does take some time, because we spend a lot of time driving around looking at projects.
I know, and it takes a lot of time.
But Dennis will help you out with that stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's true. And then again, before you commit to a project, I'll advise the clients not to be in a rush. Take your time, do your due diligence, make sure everything is intact from approvals. You know, some developers start projects and then they end up like stalling, mismanagement of funds. I know some delays might happen. You know, there's some things you can't control. Maybe there were some delays in getting the approvals. Maybe they promised to deliver the project in 2 years and then they deliver like 2.5 years. Yes, that's something to expect, right?
Yeah, anytime, I do house flipping and stuff, so anytime I see a date for construction, add some time onto it, because I mean, that's just what happens.
Yeah. But I know most of the developers around, they deliver on time. Maybe it can flip like 2, 3, 4 months.
They do. From a lot of the ones that we've seen, they've been pretty much on time.
Yeah, on time, actually.
My purchase was on time.
Actually, yeah, it was on time. They said December, it was ready by December, and then people started moving in from around January.
Yeah, so which I think is incredible for, you know, a 20-story building to be able to predict down to a month when it'll be done. So
yeah.
Dennis, walk me through the process of purchasing an off-plan from the beginning, just like some of the steps that someone would take and the options that they may have.
First of all, get a reliable realtor. Go through all the options. Narrow down to maybe 5, 3, 2, 1. And then once you identify a certain project now you're interested in, now the first step will be the developer will give you an offer. The offer will be like the agreed price, the agreed model payment, the structured installment payment plan. And then now once you get that offer, they will also give you the material documents for due diligence without paying anything. Take your time, go to your lawyer, conduct a thorough due diligence. Once everything is okay, now you'll be required to do a down payment. It's normally between 10 to 30%. Once you've done the down payment, now the developer's lawyer will give you a draft sales agreement. Now go through the sales agreement, every clause. If there's anything you feel like doesn't settle well with you, ask them to correct. Once you're okay and comfortable with everything, now sign the sales agreement, return it back to the developer, and then now start doing your installment payments up to completion. There's some developers, okay, if you're doing installment payments, okay. If you're doing like mortgage, you can still do your down payment, and then it can be financed on completion when it's ready. The process is quite simple and straightforward. It's not that easy. It's not complicated at all. Yeah.
It's pretty simple. Can you talk about some of the negotiations or options that you have when you're negotiating with a developer, which Dennis Help does? Actually, the one that I just put offer on, we got a really big discount because we're putting more money down and we're closing quickly. But Dennis will know these things and kind of find how to get the price down or get you favorable terms. Something you guys might not know is it's highly negotiable. The unit, you know, maybe you change units while you're under contract if you need to, if a new unit comes available. Your payment structure can be different. So can you talk about that a little bit?
The good thing about getting in early is that you're getting the preset prices, first of all. You know, prices keeps on increasing, changing as the construction goes on by.
Yeah, so if it's like they just 3 years out, it'll be the cheapest, and then maybe 2 years out, they increase it $1 million, which is like 7,000 USD about that. And then if it's a year out, you're not getting.
And then the good thing is like, it depends, like, it's highly negotiable, depending, like, there's some people prefer putting in, like, if you put in 10%, if you put in 20%, if you put in 30%, if you put in 50%, you're getting different discount. The higher the down payment, the higher the discount, you see. And then the good thing about buying off plan is it gives you that room for like customization. You can tweak some things in the house, like I don't like this. If you're getting something like to stay in, like to make the house be like, I want this, I don't want this sink to be outside the cloakroom, I want it to be inside, I
don't like that.
That's something like you can put it down on the contract, like when you're buying. And then for the developer, yes, once everything is put down, it's easy. In terms of payment plan now, it's flexible. First of all, you can give us your payment plan. It doesn't have to be the structured one, like you have to put 10, 20, and then you pay after every 1 month. You can give us like what's comfortable with you. So that, since it's an installment payment plan, it depends with your cash flows, You don't want to get into like heavy debt, like to clear, that flexibility. And then I think that's what I can say about off plan. That's the good thing about off plan.
Yeah, I've seen some sample contracts where they paid different amounts each time. It wasn't like just every 6 months. It was like up front they were going to pay more, and then it was going down. So they work with you to structure something depending on how your cash flow is, right?
Yeah, whichever kind of payment you're flexible with, they'll accommodate it. Yeah, that's the good thing.
Okay.
When buying off plan, I normally say, those who come in early, they have the liberty to choose like the direction, the floor level. Those who come in late, you buy what's available. And then there's some people I prefer the sunrise side, the sunset side. That's the good thing. And then the location is key. Don't buy something facing to a place where maybe something might come up and then block your view completely.
And this is stuff Dennis will advise you while we're looking at properties, right? Like, hey, this lot might get purchased and a building might go up, so your beautiful view might get obstructed.
Yeah, and then that will affect your resale value, your rental income, something completely blocked, clearly your resale value goes down.
And I think that's actually a really important thing to look at is the selection of the unit, because although you may pay more for a higher floor, I think it's very marginal, and the view is probably worth more than the amount that you're paying for it. So you could pay, just say 10 million for a unit that's on the interior where you're looking at another building, and it might be the same 10 million for a really amazing view.
Yeah. And
so as a savvy investor, especially for the same price, I want to get the unit with a better view. And the sunrise point is good because the Airbnb I stay at, I actually moved sides on the Airbnb because one of them had an issue. And it's much warmer on the one side because the wind doesn't blow in there as much. And based off of how the sun rises, it affects the view and the temperature inside depending on part of the day. So those are like little things to look out for that I've been learning.
Yeah. And another thing, when you're buying, real estate is about a game of patience. You see, a project might start maybe today, and then something happens something happens, it stalls for a bit, and then, the developers will give you that leeway, like, you don't have to continue making payments. You can just halt your payments until everything resumes back. See?
Is that common?
It's not common, though. It's not common. Unless there's a litigation, which it's not that common.
Do you think those kind of issues that people hear about happen more in the past? Because the projects that I look at, I haven't really heard of the things they tell me to watch out for. I haven't seen or heard about them. Maybe I'm being naive, but on the more modern and especially the developers that have 4, 5, 6 projects already done, I don't think that comes up as an issue. Do you think? I don't know.
It's a rare case, but it's good to expect anything.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's so rare. It's so rare. And then we have now different. It comes now. Let's say in Kilimani and the Kileleshwa, Lavington, those three areas, they're among the best upmarket areas selling right now. And then now when you look at Westlands, you find out like most developers who are developing in Westland, they tend to sell their units a bit pricey for some reasons.
Westlands has the name and the demand over there.
Yeah. Yeah, so it depends. At the same time, you feel like buying in Kilimani, buying in Westlands, it gives you the same return on investment, remember? In Kilimani, the entry prices are low.
It's lower
compared to Westlands. Westland, the entry prices are a bit higher, but also the returns are higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
A lot of international people like Westlands, but I think Lavington and Kilauea are my
Pretty
preferred
good.
areas. Kilimani and the more less busy areas are for me.
Yeah.
But I do want to get some exposure in Westlands soon. Because I do want to test out what the vacancy rate on Airbnb is for like Lavington versus Westlands. Because it is more walkable in Westlands. So, but in Lavington, you could probably jog and be more peaceful and be more quiet. So we'll see. If you were buying today for an investment property, where would you look?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one, yeah. I don't want to be biased. Kilimani is good, Lavington is good, Kileleshwa is good, Westland is good, but I feel like I'll go to Westlands.
Yeah, you would. Okay.
I'll go to Westlands because of the lifestyle.
Yeah, I feel like it would make sense for more international travelers and people that really want to be in the middle of the city. But the outside is good too.
Yeah.
But I'm going to post what the Lavington property makes one.
Yeah, all of them. Actually, those I love all Kilimani, Kileleshwa, Lavington, Westland. They're all pretty good for me.
Can you describe? Because when I was coming here, all you hear is Westlands first, and then you hear Kilimani, Kilauea, and Lavington mostly as secondary places to go. But no one could ever describe to me what the difference was before I came. So can you try to shed some light on the differences between the areas?
The first three are pretty the same, Kilimani, Kileleshwa, Lavington. But the difference in Westlands is most people, you see now, most international companies, they're set up in Westlands. So you find like even the accessibility from the airport using the expressway, it's really quick to Westland. Those who prefer nightlife, Westlands. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then now we have more office spaces in Westland. So you have like a young corporate staff based in Westlands mostly. So for the smaller units, 1 and 2 bedrooms, they're pretty good. The demand is high. But if you're looking for a home, and somewhere quiet, serene, come to Lavington, come to Kileleshwa. Kilimani is pretty cool. It's busy. Airbnb business is doing good.
I always think that Kilimani is more equivalent to Westlands with how busy it is. It's not as much business stuff going on over there, but it's getting that way and it's getting more dense. And then I agree, Lavington, Kileleshwa. Here we go. Is more laid back, I think, is the difference if I was going to try to explain it to someone.
Like for you, you got something in Lavington. There has to be something in the Lavington you liked first before getting something there.
The particular property is on a gated road. There's not a lot of big buildings around it, so you have nice views. It's more quiet. You see more green. Although Nairobi has green everywhere, even in Westlands, which is nice to me. I like, because if you're in New York City, you don't see any trees or grass or anything like that. You don't see a plant at all, So that's something I like about Nairobi in general. But Lavington, I feel, because I'll have been here for 10 weeks total between both of my trips. And you go a little crazy sitting in the apartment. Even if you go out a lot, it'd be nice to be able to take a walk outside the area. And I really want to do that in Kilimani, in most parts of Kilimani, and definitely Westlands. It's just real busy.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's more like a home. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, Lavington, good.
What do you think are the biggest negative? Hold on. What do you think are the biggest negative connotations or myths or issues that you think can come up with buying or investing in real estate here? Or concerns that people have brought to you?
I think the biggest concern has been like the trust.
Yeah. Big. Because from a U.S. perspective, the Nigerian scammers, that's what people have in their mind about Africa. It's like the number one thing. And that was my concern. I would always double check, like, is what they're telling me right?
Is it true?
Yeah. I think the remedy to that is working with a team that you trust. And obviously, how do you build trust? But from my experience, you guys just delivered on everything that you said you were going to do, even when there was an issue. Because basically, when I wired the first amount of money, or the second, the amount was too big, so it like got held up by the government or whatever. Because even in the U.S., this can happen. If you send too much money, they have to figure out what's going on with the money. But so I was concerned about it, but you guys handled it and it worked out. But I was like, my business partner was like, did the scammers get us? You know, and it is a concern. Could you speak to that a little bit? Like, how do you alleviate that concern?
Like, as I mentioned earlier, I think the best way to go about is like get a reputable realtor to work with. Someone you can hold accountable, see?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take you through from step one to the last step in terms of the payment has been made, everything as the progress of the property, giving you updates, because most of the time you won't be here.
Right.
So giving the updates, making sure everything's running smoothly from your payment, getting the receipts back. You know, that's the kind of things that make people feel like, that's a foreign country. How am I investing in somewhere I don't know? You see, so like, and that's the biggest myth also is about projects like stalling. So
Right.
yeah, in rare cases it happens, but I don't think it's something to be scared about. Yeah, everything's running out smoothly at the moment. You know.
What I do to kind of check on that stuff is ask 3 more people the same question and see what their answer is, right? So you gave me an attorney and they gave me a price. I don't know what attorneys cost here. So I asked like 3 other people or 3 other attorneys to figure out. Because the Mzungu price or like a foreigner price, you know, like if you look like you don't know what you're talking about, a random person will try to charge you. So you just verify, ask more people.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing. Yeah. Same thing with like the bank, right? Like I was working on opening a bank account. I'm like, they want how much? You know, so, but then I go to the other banks and they say something similar and they're like, okay, that seems to be how that works, you know.
And also something I like to add on, in innovating the developer, I think ask questions like the property management. What happens after the property is ready? You know, that determines a lot in terms of value. You know, a property manager, you know, if the property is not well kept, the property values definitely will go low.
Yeah,
go down.
Go look at the previous ones. And
yeah, go look at how it's managed. Ask about the service fee, the HOA. Like, what does it cater for? You know, understand it. Like, is it like for security, maintenance, and stuff? Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I think just in general, if you're international coming here, obviously work with great people like Dennis, but probably the big thing is people are going to tell you anything because it's sales. It happens everywhere. They're going to make it seem the best. Just verify. Like, okay, they tell you something about management, go see their management at another property.
Yeah.
That'll tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, see like
Yes,
how they've
we got
done.
2 minutes.
You'll see how they've done it, and then what to expect now on the new project coming up.
So guys, I hope this information was helpful. We'll try to do some more. Dennis got to get his YouTube channel and everything set up, and we're going to have that up there. But if you guys have more questions, I try to answer everything in the comments, and Dennis's information will be in the description, so you can reach out to him directly. I hope we covered everything. Obviously, there's a million questions that we can ask, and we'll try to do more. I know Dennis is working on some things to do more content. And yeah, appreciate you guys. See you.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for the opportunity. Also, in case you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me through Ryan, through my WhatsApp, through my Instagram, Munge Homes Properties, through my WhatsApp. Ryan will put my description there on the comment on that description. Will put my details on the description below.
And come visit.